This is Radio Romania International. You are listening to our one-hour broadcast in English for listeners in Western Europe and Japan. We can also be heard on the internet at www.rri.ro Channel 1. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter and other social media platforms. Our programs are also available on TuneIn and via satellite Eurosat 16A on 11,512 MHz vertical polarization, azimuth 16 degrees east. Symbol rate 29,950 mega symbols per second, standard DVB-S2, modulation 8 PSK, audio PID 510. We wish you good reception conditions.
Hello, you are listening to the news on Radio Romania International. I'm Vlad Palcu. Let's look at the top stories. 1 year since the administration of the first COVID vaccine dose in Romania, the country ranks last but one at EU level in terms of the vaccination rate. In Europe too, this year's Christmas was strongly affected by the pandemic. And NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg decided to convene on January 12 a NATO-Russia Council. 1 year since the administration of the first COVID vaccine dose in Romania, the country ranks last but one at EU level in terms of a vaccination rate, with almost 7.8 million Romanians having been fully vaccinated, accounting for just over 40% of the total population. The data also shows that almost 2 million Romanians have so far taken the booster. Some 40% of the total population have completed the full vaccination scheme. The situation reveals a rather low interest in vaccination, except for short periods of enthusiasm or fears caused by successive waves of the pandemic. A total of 566 new cases of SARS-CoV-2 infection have been reported in the last 24 hours, as well as 24 related deaths, the Strategic Communication Group reported on Monday. About 450 patients are in ICUs, over 90% of them being unvaccinated. A total of 38 cases of the Omicron strain have been confirmed in Romania. This year's Christmas was strongly affected by the pandemic as well, and the situation remains dramatic in Europe. The highest infection rate is reported in the United Kingdom, where new restrictions have taken effect starting Monday, with the exception of England. Over 122,000 infections were reported on Christmas Eve, against the backdrop of the spread of the Omicron strain. France too has exceeded a number of 100,000 daily infections. In Italy, the number of daily infections has doubled compared to last week. Starting January 10th, Italy will start administering the anti-COVID booster after 4 months since completing the vaccination scheme consisting of 2 shots, 2 months earlier than the reference period. The measure was taken in an attempt to limit the spread of the Omicron strain. Starting February, the green certificate will only be available for 6 months after receiving the 2 shots. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has decided to convene on January 12 a NATO-Russia Council, a cooperation body set up in 2002, now suspended due to the conflict in Ukraine, and he is in contact with Moscow on the matter, an alliance official in Brussels announced. On Thursday, Jens Stoltenberg reaffirmed his support for Ukraine and his determination to protect all NATO allies against Russia's actions, adding that he was always open to dialogue with Moscow. Russia and the West accuse each other of challenging actions by strengthening military capabilities at common borders. Russia wants a firm guarantee that NATO will not accept Ukraine as a member, a request that NATO rejected in the past, as well as to limit Western military cooperation in Eastern Europe and the former USSR member states. President Vladimir Putin did not say how Russia would react if its demands were not met, stressing that the answer depended on the proposals the military experts present him with. The EU, the US and NATO have warned Moscow that there will be serious consequences in case of a military escalation. And that was the news on Radio Romania International.